Here's our brand new port matched intake manifold setup. We have the lower and we have the upper. And what we're going to be doing is installing this guy right here, our tuned ECU. Hello everyone, and welcome back to another Tiburon video. If you didn't see my last video, what we did was installed our new intake manifolds, upper and lower. And in that video, I showed you guys that the car was acting a little funny under throttle, and that's because we have yet to install our new tuned ECU. And I'm hoping that this tuned ECU solves our issues that we're having with the hanging RPMs and the weird idle and everything else. So what we're gonna do is get it installed, start the car up, take it for a drive, and see how she does. The first thing you're gonna wanna do is disconnect the negative side of your battery. So the first thing you're gonna do is come over to your passenger side, and you're going to remove the glove box. In order to remove the glove box, there's going to be 6 screws. You can see there's one right there. So there's 3 inside the glove box. 1, 2, and 3. So you're gonna remove those. Then you also have to remove the ones that are underneath. There's another 3. There's 1, there's 2 over there, and the 3rd. So you're gonna start by removing those 6. If you're a bigger guy, this is gonna be a tough job. So this is the first time I'm ever doing this. I've never done this before. So this is good documentation for those like myself who have not done it, to know what you gotta do. I always like making videos like this that I don't see on YouTube. Okay. So all I did there was just open it up and then tug down slightly. All right, so let me bring you over now. It's a little dirty under there. Anyway, all I did there was open up the glove box and then tug down slightly, and it came right out. So it looks like you have a connector here for your light when you open up the glove box. There's a few connections here, and what we're trying to do is get right back there. That's where we're trying to go. So what I'm gonna do is disconnect these guys, that way I can pull this out. And actually, I believe you do have access to your cabin air filter, which is right there as well. So if you ever wanted to replace that while you're in here, now is a good time to do that. So let's go ahead and remove this, that way we can get access. All right, that's the glove box. All right, so with the glove box taken out, you can now see that we have access to the other ECU, which is right here. So the first thing I'm gonna do is, you can see that there's 2 10mm bolts down there at the bottom. I'm gonna go ahead and take those out, and I should be able to, once those are done, it should be free for me to kind of pull it out and then undo all the connectors. So let's take out those 10mm bolts first and see if we can pull this out. Okay, so my 10mm screws have been removed, and I'm going to show you some other things I'm going to get out of the way to make this a little easier. There is a connector down here. There's one here and one here, and they're both connected together. And what I'm going to do is disconnect them. And then also, if you look under here, there is a Phillips head screw which holds this up, this whole thing. And if I unscrew that, I'm hoping that it'll be easier for me to pull these things out of the way. Then the ECU should be able to just slip right out of here. So let me go ahead and do that and see if that helps, makes things a little easier. Okay, so I've removed that Phillips head screw, and you'll notice that I can just pull this right out of the way. Now I should be able to try and free up this ECU with a little bit more space. All I gotta do is I gotta get in there and undo these connectors, and then it should be able to just pop out right through the bottom. Man, this is tough, especially if you got big hands. Okay, I got it. Well, with the exception of one connector. But I wanted to show the position I'm in, because after looking on the forum, I saw that someone was positioned like this because they said it was easiest. And I have to agree, this is the only way that was comfortable. So I'm flipped over with my feet over top of the passenger headrest and just laying down with my head here on the ground and having to basically go in blind without being able to see anything, but just feeling around with my hands. I got one connector left. It's the very top one. you just gotta be patient. I got, woo! Oh my God, I got it. Wow, that sucked. Okay, let me come back up and get vertical. I have to say that was probably the worst part I've ever had to uninstall from this car, with the exception of that damn black bracket that you see me take off when we did the valve covers, and then now the intake manifold. My God, that sucked. But it's out. Now we have to redo it all and put the new one in. All right, here are the two ECUs side by side. This one right here is the stock ECU that was in my car. This one right here is the tuned ECU for my setup. If you're wondering where I got this from, you can get your ECU tuned from Chase on the Tiburon forum. I'll be sure to leave a link with his permission to getting in contact with him. That way, if you do want to get your ECU tuned, then he can do it for you. You're gonna have to get that shipped out to him, and then he'll take care of it for you. He also sends back with your ECU directions on how to install and how to remove that type of thing. But now you have this video, so you have something that you can actually follow along with visuals. So we're gonna go ahead and get this one installed. Before I do that, I'm gonna take these tabs off and put them on this one, and that should take care of the install. So let's go ahead and get it done. Okay, so the new ECU is in, as you can see. And one thing that I want to note is you can see the gray connector clips that are flipped in the locked position. In order to reinstall them, you're going to have to go in reverse order. So that means the very top connector has to go first, and then you work your way on down the line until you get to the very first one, which is that white clip down there. Also notice that the gray clips are flipped in the locked position now, but in order to install them, you have to flip them down into the unlocked position, and then once they're in, then you flip them back up. I'm going to show you on a diagram what I'm talking about, but yeah, that's pretty much how it went. You got to start with the top first and then work your way down. And now that that is all in, I put my other connector back on there, this harness here, screwed in the 8mm bolts that are there, and now we're good. So what I'm going to be doing now is reconnecting the glove box with our 6 screws, and then we'll be good to go. Oh God. Woo! That'll do it. All right, well, without further ado, what we have to do is start up the car. So I'm going to start this up, and per Chase's instructions, I should let this idle for about 15 to 20 minutes so that it can relearn everything and recalibrate. So I'm going to start it up. I'll let you guys see how it's idling and everything else, and then I'm just going to let it be for a while and let it run. I'm also going to be checking for some vacuum leaks while the car is on. I tightened everything down and checked things. Everything seems all right. So let's go ahead and start it up and see what she does. All right, this is an absolute cold start with a new ECU. Oh, my battery terminal still disconnected. It would probably be wise to reconnect my battery before trying to start the car. Yes, it would be wise. Okay, now let's try this again. We got power. So the car's been idling for probably about 5 minutes now, and it's idling way better than it was before. Doesn't seem like we're getting any sort of misfire anymore. There's no shudder. So it's definitely idling better. I haven't touched the throttle yet. I'm just allowing it to do its thing before I touch anything. Let me bring you inside the car, I'll show you. Like I said, now the car is idling way better. As you can see from inside the car here, we're now idling under 1,000. The car feels good. You know, it's not shaking or misfiring like it was before. So it definitely feels a lot better. I'm gonna allow it to idle for a few more minutes, and then I'm going to touch the throttle and maybe take it for a little drive, and we'll see how it responds. All right, so we have been idling for about 15 minutes. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go take the car for a drive, and we're gonna try to drive it around for about 15-20 minutes at 55 miles per hour and try to keep it under 50% throttle. per Chase's requirements. So let's go ahead and take it for a drive. We'll see what it does. Let me blip the throttle a little bit here, see what she does. Way better than before. It's coming right back down pretty much. Slight elevated throttle. Slight. Looks like it's hanging a little bit still. Alright, I apologize. My camera on my phone is really bad, but regardless, we are at speed right now at 55, and I can notice quite a bit of difference with the way the car drives. Not speed or power wise, because I'm not pushing it right now, but just in the way it feels. It is a much smoother drive. It's very comparable to, if you're a motorcycle guy like me, very comparable to what it feels like after you install a power commander on a motorcycle. The throttle response is much better. It is much smoother, especially at speed. It feels way smoother when I let off the throttle. Yeah, it feels pretty good. So I'm going to continue to drive it here, and I'll get a few more clips. But for the most part, everything feels pretty good right now. The RPMs are still hanging a little bit, but nothing that is super bad or super significant. Just a little bit. So let's keep driving it here, get to my mileage marker, and we'll turn around and go back. Just tried out something here at lower speeds. I was in second gear. I went to shift up, and I just wanted to see if the RPMs would hang. And the RPMs are still hanging. I don't have my foot on the gas. I'm in neutral. And the RPMs are still hanging at about 2,200. I wonder what happens if I just come to a stop. Still hanging. It's weird. That's weird. I don't know why that's happening. So I'm back now, and I'm just going to give it some throttle. Just wants to hang at 1,500. It does this little idle hang here. It's weird. Not sure why it's doing that. All right, so we're back. Really, the only complaint is we're still getting that RPM to hang a little bit before it comes back down. I don't really know what's going on with that. I'm going to reach out to a few people and see what's going on. I don't have any misfires or anything like that, at least that I can see or hear anyway. Because when I did have a misfire before, I was hearing some whistling, and it was coming because this wasn't torqued down properly on one side. So I torqued everything, and that whistle went away. So I don't think I'm getting a misfire of any kind, because I mean, it runs great otherwise. So I'm gonna reach out to a few people and see what I can come up with. But other than that, the ECU, I mean, it's running better than it was before. Before, the RPMs were really hanging. I couldn't even drive the thing pretty much. So I just took it for, you know, a 30-minute drive at 55 miles per hour, and everything really was okay at speed. It's just when I get to those lower RPMs, things are hanging a little bit. So let me dive into it a little bit. I'll keep everybody updated, obviously, as I go along in this process. But all in all, so far, everything is okay. I would also like to do a drive so that I can see how it responds under power. Obviously, I want to drive the damn thing hard and see how it responds. That's the whole point of doing this ported setup, is to give it a better throttle response and a little bit more power through the range. So I'd like to do that. But we have some other things that we have to do as far as power goes. We have to do the headers, which I have. We just obviously have to get that process done. I am not sure if I'm going to do that process or if I'm going to have a shop do it. It's going to be a 3-day process probably for me if I do it alone, and I don't have a lift or anything, so it's going to be fun me doing that myself. If I decide to have a shop do it, then I'll try to document as much as I can, but probably will be something like the exhaust video that I posted, where I just bring the car there and kind of document what I can. So Have to do the headers yet, which is also a part of that ECU tune, so I'm wondering if maybe that's another thing that needs to be tweaked on my end, is just get the headers installed and see if it makes a difference. But I guess we'll find out. Some other things that we have in the engine bay is we have an oil catch can that we're going to throw on, which is going to be up here in this corner. So we're going to be doing that. And then later on down the line, we're going to pretty much do a complete overhaul of the entire engine bay with some new parts and things that need to be done, like coolant hoses and whatnot, before next year's car shows. And then something that you cannot see in the engine bay, which I'd like to do eventually, is some cams. So we'll talk about that in some future videos as well. All in all, the car is one step closer to being finished. We still have the wide body kit that we have to install, which is going to be quite a process, but we are going to be chipping away at that. We're going to be changing colors around. We're going to be changing the colors of the rims and getting rid of the orange. We have some big brakes that we have to install as well. Those need to be updated. We have a wing upgrade as well, which you guys have yet to see, which is also going to be a big surprise. I'm in talks with Fuse Fabrication, which is a company that deals with the Tiburon. We're going to be redoing the fuel door and redoing this little antenna here because things are starting to chip. And then something else as well that is going to help with the running of the car is I'm in talks with Fuse Fabrication to also get a air fuel gauge as well, which is going to go right here so we can see how the car is performing. Other things, we're going to be redoing the steering wheel, redoing the seats, and just a bunch of little things. So we have quite a bit to do. Regardless, I'm going to stop talking. We're getting off on a tangent, and we're going to make this video way longer than it has to be. So if you guys have questions about anything, feel free to leave them down in the comment section down below. But that's going to be it for this one, and I will see you guys in the next part. What am I going to install? You guys will have to find out. See you in the next one.